How's everybody? You guys doing all right today? Good.
Well, good morning, everyone. Or I should say afternoon by now. I'm Rocco Scalzi, and it's great to be here today. And I want to start off by thanking Warren and David for coming from the West Coast in today to be part of this program called Beating the Odds, the Beating the Odds Foundation. So you're going to hear us talking today about how we all overcome the challenges, the obstacles of life. You'll hear some of those challenges in our own personal lives and how that led to the start of this foundation called the Beating the Odds Foundation. And as far as the Beating the Odds Foundation, this is our 25th year this year that we've been doing this. And actually, it all started here in New York City when I had the opportunity many years ago to be part of Geraldo Rivera's program. And that featured police officers from around the United States talking about the challenges and the obstacles of being a police officer, which I was. And that program was entitled Cop Killers and Killer Cops. And from that program, I was invited to schools in Pittsburgh. And from that program, talking to students about dreams and goals and obstacles and never giving up, we brought 15,000 students to the home of the Pittsburgh Steelers in 1990, Three River Stadium, and we kicked off this program called Beating the Odds. So today, you're going to hear a little bit about what we do in the schools and why Warren is here and why David is here. And David, who has a new book out now, Connected to Goodness, when David shared this book with me, it really ties in nicely to what we teach in the schools, called the Stepping Stones to Success. And our Quarterbacks of Life program with Warren, when we had the opportunity many years ago to come up with a title for our program in the schools, it was introduced to us to use quarterbacks and the quarterback program. And I said, well, let's take it a little bit further than just the quarterback on the football field, which we'll address. And we decided to call it the Quarterbacks of Life. So our program is all about student success and leadership programs and helping students identify and learn a curriculum that takes them on a journey to achieving their dreams and goals in life. So I feel like I'm in school today with a group of students, except I feel like I'm here with teachers. So we're looking forward to having you come up with some questions for us as we talk. But I think to get started, what I would like to do is introduce you to those stepping stones that we feel are very, very important in educating our young people today. And we have a lot of partners in this program. The Stepping Stones to Success curriculum was created by Dr. John Warsbit, an educator for 40-some years, received a lot of awards for his work. And really, when he approached me many years ago in my law enforcement days and said he wanted to do something that could focus on individual stories, help people reach the dream, reach the goal in life, but along that journey had some challenges and obstacles that set them back, and how they picked up the pieces and moved forward. So over the years, we've been very fortunate in integrating that curriculum today where we have partners like Warren and David, stories of individuals that are well-known. Bethany Hamilton co-chairs the foundation. Bethany Hamilton, as you may know, lost her arm surfing to a shark, still competes today with one arm, great story. Our co-chair also with Bethany is former Pittsburgh Steelers great Rocky Bleier, Vietnam veteran, Vietnam hero. And also Bob Whelan, who lost both of his legs during the Vietnam War and inspired the world not only as a strength coach for the Green Bay Packers, but went on to walk across America on his arms without legs. So these are some of the stories that we use in our program to demonstrate to students that dreams are possible. And no matter what the challenges and the obstacles in life are, we can still overcome them. So at this time, what I would like to do is start off with David, and I guess we'll go in order with Warren, and maybe talk a little bit to the audience about our first stepping stone, which is the power of dreams and goals. We teach students in schools that dreams are creations of the mind, something we see, something we read, something we learn about, creations of the mind. But without the goals, they just remain dreams. Goals are dreams with a plan. So David, can you go back to your beginnings and the importance of a dream and a goal?
Well, sure. Dreams are essential. As I actually wrote in my book, the first step of manifesting or getting what you desire in life is to consciously think about it. And then there's actually these principles that we have to follow in order to get inspired. And I grew up with 6 kids in my family, and it's one of the things Warren and I share with a single mom. And I had a bunch of dreams, including being a Hall of Fame quarterback. And so since I couldn't manifest that, I decided to partner with one. But I think that dreams are the first step to get and make a possibility in your life. And so what we have to do is to empower our children to understand it's so important to initially dream, because when we dream, it becomes a possibility. And then what we teach are these practical foundational principles to make a plan so that we become inspired. We actually have a way to dream, so that's pragmatic and realistic. And then we get inspired, which makes it a probability. And it's very essential for these young children to understand that it is a probability no matter what your circumstances are. I think if you would have known Warren and I when we were young in those circumstances, it would be very doubtful that we'd be sitting here today. And then finally, what we teach through strategy, discipline, and understanding is to take that probability and make it your perspective or your reality. So we have this program in order to take certain steps to go from possibility to probability to perspective, which is your reality, utilizing simple steps that they can follow and be empowered with gratitude and empathy.
Warren, dreams and goals.
Well, my dreams started when I was a young kid, no question about it. And I think, like Dave said, it's important to have dreams. In the younger you can start to have those dreams, the better. Some people don't start to visualize the things that they want to be in life till later on, because a lot of people have no idea. You can talk to some people that have graduated from college and still don't know what they want to be or what they want to do. And what we're trying to do is instill these concepts in young kids as early as we possibly can, so they can start dreaming big, and then those dreams turn into goals, and the goals give you something that you can really look at and shoot for, and then you put together a plan on how you're going to achieve those goals. And that's exactly what I did as a young kid. I used to visualize myself being an NBA basketball player, being an NFL football player, and that visualization or my dreams turned into, okay, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to be, and this is how I'm going to go about it. So I put together a plan at a very young age of how I wanted to work and get to the different steps of whether it be in Pop Warner football, going into high school football, and then in the college, and every step of the way as I went through the different levels, those goals would change, and the plan would change as far as how I'm going to get to that next step. And I think all these different concepts, just really help you as far as being successful in life, because you also need support as you go along this journey. And I think support is part of this as well, as far as having a support system, whether it's your parents, whether it's coaches or mentors that are in your life that are going to help support what you're trying to do as far as moving forward to achieve these goals, which started out as dreams. So I think because I was a recipient of this type of program without even being a part of this program itself, it made me see that this is something I want to be a part of, to help young kids kind of realize their dreams and goals as they move forward in life, and show them that there are going to be obstacles along the way, no question about it. There is going to be adversity, but this is how you go about it, and this is how you stay the course to be successful in life.
Great. In our program, we like to share the stories, we produce the stories of individuals that we call quarterbacks of life, like Warren's story and all these other stories that I've mentioned, where the students will actually do research on their lives. And in their research, they learn to become articulate. They stand up and they actually deliver speeches about the stories that they studied. And they look at those stepping stones, each stepping stone that we're going to be talking about, stepping stone 1, dreams and goals. There's 5 stepping stones in the program. But not only do we look at the individuals, we look at people's lives, like Warren's an NFL quarterback, David, an author, CEO of a company, corporate America. One of our newest partners is NASA. We had the opportunity to partner last year with NASA, where students not only studied the dream and the goal of NASA, President Kennedy, I have a dream to land a person on the moon. They also then learned that NASA had to use these same 5 stepping stones to achieve that dream. And they researched a particular mission of NASA last year, which was the Hubble telescope mission. And in their research, they learned of those stepping stones and how they played out. They also learned about the astronauts, Charlie Bolden, the commander of Hubble, who's now NASA administrator, John Grunsfeld, who had to walk in space 3 times to repair Hubble. So they learned how those stepping stones not only play out in their individual lives, but as an organization like NASA to be successful. So going to stepping stone 2, it's all about self-awareness of your resources. You know, NASA needed to be aware of what resources they had to achieve their dreams and their goals. Everybody together. So self-awareness of our resources and then developing those resources. So David, when did you first realize that you had what it would take to be successful in business, eventually to be an author?
You know, at a young age, as I had passion for football, but started to realize I just wasn't going to be talented enough, I started developing other skills. And I found that one of the things that I still love about sports, you know, I ran one of the largest sports agencies in the world, which is where I met Warren. I found that a lot of the characteristics and things that I learned on the field, even though I didn't have nearly the talent as most of the people I represented, would carry over into business. And that things like teamwork and dedication and discipline, all of these different tools, I could actually create great abundance with the same type of pride, character, integrity, teamwork, all the characteristics that I learned. In a very young age, I started to apply it to school, started to apply it to different competitions. I went to law school and business school, utilizing those things as I developed those skills and started to realize that I was really good at it. And I wanted to take it to the next level, which is why we're participating with the Beating the Odds Foundation, Quarterback for Life, is I think it's so important for us to give what we have to empower others to give it to others. And then you can affect significant change, a collective belief. And we definitely need that here, especially in America, to empower these kids and utilize the skill set that we have to empower them so that they can carry on and empower others as well.
Self-awareness of your resources.
Yeah.
When did you realize you could throw a football, and what did you need to do to develop those talents?
You know, I didn't come from a very athletic family, believe it or not. I had 6 sisters growing up, and I was the only boy. So my dad passed away when I was 7 years old, so I really didn't have a dad in my house. And my mother got me involved in sports basically to get me around more boys, get me around more men, and mentor-type people in my life. So it was through that entry into sports that I started to see that I had some ability. And as I got older, I started to see that ability was a little bit different than everybody else that was my age. So I really enjoyed sports. I really loved them a lot, but my mother wasn't going to let me play them unless I got the grades that I needed in school, because she always told me that, you know, you can't put everything on sports. What if it doesn't happen for you? You got to be able to rely on something else. So education was a big part of our home as well. But I also knew I had some gifts that would probably give me an opportunity to maybe get a scholarship to go to college, just because financially she wasn't going to be able to pay for me to go to college. So that was my big motivation playing sports as a young kid, was to try and get a scholarship to college so I could continue my education. And if things happened better for me in sports after that, then I would continue on. But that was the main focus, was to continue the education. So I think at a very early age I found out that I was pretty good in a lot of different sports, but football was the one that just kept coming back to me as far as being the one that really gave me that passion that I wanted to be a quarterback, because I started playing it when I was 11 years old. And as I went along the different levels, like I talked about earlier, I saw that I was as good or able to compete with the guys in my age group, and did very well at it. So I just continued to keep that journey going and continued those goals and continued that same plan moving forward to try and get a scholarship to college. Great.
Stepping stone 3, we talk about team, the importance of teamwork. What I learned very early in my lifetime is that, you know, that's so important, teamwork. And I remember when I first started this foundation 25 years ago, and we ended up bringing 15,000 students together, people thought that was impossible in our educational system. But what I needed to do was go back out there and put together a team of people that believed in it. And here today, you know, we're here today talking to all of you. There was a lot of people that were involved, you know, in not only putting this day together, but doing it today, filming it, and covering this thing live, you know. So team is so important. And we teach kids in school that, you the Army used to have that saying, remember, an army of what? One, right? Well, we worked with the Army. And the Army today uses our curriculum in over 3,000 schools throughout the country. And it's not about an army of one. They realize that today. Now, we all understand what they were talking about. We all have to have that internal drive that's going to inspire, motivate us, but we can't do it alone. So, David, team. How is team important in getting you to where you're at today?
It's essential, and I think once I got over the ego side of things of being afraid to ask for help, because I had to expose myself that I came from a less fortunate situation and had to be accountable for my own personal situation, that I found the team was what really inspired me, whether it be my family as a team or the actual team, my friends, or even further, the community. And I believe in a collective conscious. So to ask for help is the number one thing. If you read Ben Franklin's autobiography, the number one thing he teaches is the best thing you can do in life is ask for help, because you become an investment of others. I add to that the best thing you can add is your own help for anyone that's helping you. And helping is really the philosophy behind team, asking and receiving help for a common good or a common goal.
Warren, as an NFL quarterback, I know team is very important to you, right? Without those guys blocking for you, where would you be, right?
Yeah, you can't do your job as a quarterback without supportive team around you. And it's not just the guys that are on the field with you. It starts throughout the week. It starts with your training staff that gets you ready to play. It starts with your medical staff. It starts with the ball boys and everybody that plays a part in a role in getting you ready to play on Sunday afternoon. And so it's no question it's a team effort. And then once you get on the field, of course, you're only successful as the guys that you have around you as a quarterback, because it is a team sport. And I think everybody has to do their individual job in order to make one particular play work. And we saw that not happen in the Super Bowl on the last play of the game, where everybody didn't do their job and didn't have a good result. So you definitely have to have everybody working in unison with one another and doing what their responsibilities are to make things work. And that happens as a team, not only within your football team itself, but again, with my family. I mean, having the support of my family behind me is one of the biggest things that you can have, having that type of support. Knowing that my mother was in the stands watching me play every weekend when I was a young kid, that gave me just extra motivation to want to go out there and perform better. And knowing that my sisters were behind what I was doing and the friends that I had there. So all of that team and all of that support really helps make you more successful as a player.
Stepping stone 3, the teamwork. Stepping stone 4, we teach students that they have to decide and plan. So you have the dream and the goal. You're aware of your resources. You have a team around you. But if you just stop there, nothing ever happens. So we have students like the NASA partnership where they do their research. This year, as I mentioned, they're doing research on Orion space mission to Mars. They're studying the radiation shield that has to protect Orion and our astronauts to get them there safely. And they're learning of all the decisions and the plans that go into that successful mission. So they can see ultimately that the dreams and the goals and the teamwork and understanding their resources, now with a game plan, they can continue moving forward. So, David, decisions and plans. I know that you've made them along the journey. You still probably every day make them. You're here today. You made the decision and plan to come here today, both of you. So how important are decisions and plans every day of our lives?
It's critical, and we utilize in our business a AAA philosophy. Number one rule that Warren taught me is be more interested, Dave, than interesting. I came off as a big CEO of a big company, and we were starting a startup, and he said, look, let's take that ego down. Let's be more interested than interesting. Get alignment with people, then take strategic action, and also drop your ego and prepare for adjustment. Realize that we're not always right, and we have to prepare for that adjustment. And if you take that AAA philosophy, we're going to be really successful in our purposeful journey together.
Warren, decisions, planning, important?
It's so important with everything you do in life, whether it's preparing for a football game throughout the week with the game planning that goes into work starting on Mondays, and then turning into a game plan as you practice that throughout the week, or even in your life or in our business. Having a plan about how you want to go about things is essential to being successful, because you don't want to be all over the place. You want to have some clear-cut plans on what it is you want to accomplish, whether it's that particular day, that particular trip, that particular week, or long-term plans. So there's no question planning has a big part to do with being successful, and we try and teach young people that as well, because as you know, young people can be all over the place as far as their thinking is concerned, and if you don't get them more directed in a positive direction, they just tend to waste a lot of time and just tread their wheels. So having a plan in place gives them something to focus on, something to look at each and every day or throughout that day, to know what they're working on to get to the point where they're trying to achieve that goal that they're trying to achieve.
In decisions, decide and plan, what really was nice with our partnership with NASA last year, as the students worked throughout the entire year of all the research and the work together as a team and researching Hubble and the telescope mission and the astronauts that were a part of it, and the engineers and scientists, at the end, they were able to see when they went to Washington, D.C., and they met the astronauts and the scientists and the physicists, and they got to hear their stories from them. And they got to see the success, of all their hard work. So they realized that those decisions and plans now paid off. And Stepping Stone 5, I always have felt it's probably the most important. All these stepping stones need to work together. If you just take one of them out of the picture, it messes it up. But the last stepping stone that I learned in my own life is to never quit, to never give up, a positive mental attitude. I thought I was on top of the world one day. My dream of becoming a police officer that I set when I was only in the 5th grade because of a school assembly program, and I achieved that dream of all those years to get there. My whole world came tumbling down when I mistakenly was involved in a hostage situation, and my bullet struck a young person by mistake. It turned my whole world upside down. And it took me 7 years to get my life back on course. So the last stepping stone is that positive, never quit, never give up attitude. David, how do you feel about that?
I live my life by it. So I've been blessed. I was a millionaire in my 20s, multi-millionaire in my 30s, retired, and pretty much lost everything. And had to utilize that athletic philosophy in my life to use the principles that got me there to get it all back. And that's the name of Warren's book, Never Give Up. And it's one of the things that attracted me to Warren is, I'm surrounded by the greatest athletes when I worked with Lee Steinberg, and the challenges that he had to go through in order to become an NFL quarterback. Imagine living in Edmonton for 6 years, winning 5 Grey Cups in a row, while you're probably the best quarterback on the earth, making pennies on the dollar, but your belief in yourself, never to give up. As you think this is cold, go to Edmonton. Unbelievable. And those types of stories, those quarterback for life stories that I knew, I'm a lot younger than him, even though it doesn't look like it. I knew like that. That's the key to life, even in business. My first goal in business is stay in business tomorrow, because everything changes. I live in the now, and as long as I get up to bat tomorrow, something's good's going to happen, and I have to have that positive attitude that it will, and it has for me in every aspect of my life.
Great. Warren, beating the odds. I think Rocky Blyer says it in our school program. If I'm correct on these numbers, 1 in 100,000 will make it to the NFL. So we have all these kids that are dreaming all the time, but we tell them don't give up on that dream. If you're doing those other stepping stones, you got a shot at it, right? So never quit, never give up. Yeah. Your story.
Well, I had a great role model in order for me to look at as far as me not giving up in watching my mom raise our family. She could have gave up when my dad passed away, and here she is with 7 kids and no form of really income as far as to take care of us. So she went back to school. She re-educated herself, became a private nurse, and she would work 2 shifts. She always made sure we had hot food on the table, always had clean clothes on our back. But again, she could have been somebody that gave up right then, or tried to just wallow in her sorrows because of what was happening to her, but she didn't do that. And I watched her do this. I watched her, and I tried to help her as well as all of us tried to help her with this this thing that she had to try and overcome to keep us all going as a family. And I think it really rubbed off on me as far as her toughness, her determinedness, as far as making sure that she did everything she needed to do as a responsible parent to provide for us. And one of my motivations as a young kid was to one day get in a position to where I could help her and take care of her because of the way she took care of me and sacrificed for me and gave me all the things that I needed in my life to be successful. And so that was one of my motivators. And throughout all the different levels that I went through the game, trying to play quarterback as an African American back in the early 70s and so on, it was tough on me. There's no question about it. I got the door slammed in my face at a lot of different times when I felt like I was good enough to play the position, but just wasn't getting the opportunity. And a lot of those times was just because of the color of my skin. But I didn't let it deter me. I never quit because I kept my eyes on the goal that I had set for myself. I had a dream that I had as a young kid to play in the National Football League one day. And I never gave up on that dream. And that's the name of my book, Never Give Up on Your Dream, My Journey. And I just wanted an opportunity. And instead of wallowing in my own sorrow because things weren't happening the way I wanted them to happen, I just wanted to make sure that I kept myself working, kept myself in a position that when that opportunity did come, then I was ready to jump on it. And that's what kept me focused. Making sure I was in a position to jump on the opportunity, and then always in the back of my mind, knowing that one day I want to be able to take care of my mom, and that was a motivator for me. So things worked out well. I finally got those opportunities that I was looking for, and I made the most of them when I got them, and the rest is history. But I think there's a big part of you that sometimes wants to quit. There's a big part of you that sometimes becomes bitter because things aren't happening the way you want them to happen. But it's a hard thing, and a lot of it has to do with your makeup because we're not all made up the same. And everybody's not going to be as tough. Everybody's not going to be as stubborn. Everybody's not going to be as confident as maybe me. And that's one of the things you have to try and find out about people as you go through adversity. You find out a lot about who you are and what type of person that you are. And I definitely found out a lot about myself as I went through the things that I went through. But I'm fortunate that things turned out the way they did, and I'm able to tell this story, and I'm also able to share my experiences and hopefully help other young people as they go forward trying to make some of these same decisions and try and be successful in their lives.
You know, what makes the foundation work, and today we're going to open this up in a minute to questions from the audience, but what really makes our program work in schools across the country are these stories, where students can begin to see that, wow, you know, if you did it, maybe I can do it too. And in our school system, as I'm sure many of you know, that everyone here went through our school system, and some of you have children, and you know, in school today, and you know, we realize that we're always pushing the standards, the Common Core standards in education. If we don't connect education to a student's success and their dreams and their goals in life, then that's why we lose so many kids. They lose interest and they drop out of school, and then what do they have? So in this program, stories, if we had time right now to ask each and every one of you your personal story, you know, we could put it into a book because everybody has a story. So at this time, we would like to open it up, you know, to the audience to ask David and Warren or myself questions, and you know, hopefully we'll work as a team.
Hi, Rocco, Warren, David. Thank you so much for coming. I'm awesome. How are you doing?
Great.
Awesome.
Question for you. How does the quarterbacks of life analogy work with females in your schools, given that the analogy, you know, football mostly is mostly a male sport?
Great question. This Saturday, I'm going to be with another great legend in football from the Pittsburgh area, Franco Harris. And Franco will be bringing in the Pittsburgh Passion. You guys familiar with the Pittsburgh Passion? A women's professional football team. Okay, so up to about 8-10 years ago, I wasn't even aware that there was such an organization, but there is, and they play all over the country. And Pittsburgh, I think, won the national title a few years ago. And you should see their quarterback. I mean, she can throw a football probably close to what Warren can throw. I mean, unbelievable, you know. So we have quarterback of life stories that are females that are pilots. CEOs, Southwest Airlines, Colleen Barrett started as a secretary, became CEO of Southwest Airlines. We have a female colonel that's one of the highest ranking females in the United States Army that has an incredible beating the odds story. That's one of our quarterback life stories. So, what I've seen in our school program, it really doesn't matter, as far as whether it's a male or female, to some degree, because they're really learning those stepping stones to success. Rocky Blyer always says to me, these kids don't know who I am. My God, even their parents don't know who I am. Now, maybe their grandparents remember me. But when you read their essays after they do the research and meet these people, it's unbelievable what these stories do in the lives of young people. But we're always searching for those stories, male and female. Great question.
And I think that's what the quarterbacks for life are all about. It's not about playing the position of quarterback in football or any other sport. You can be a leader in anything that you do. You can be a leader in the sales department. You could be a leader in government. You can be a leader in politics. You can be a leader in the operating room, wherever it might be. You don't have to necessarily be a male or a female. You just want to be somebody that leads by example and doing the right thing and doing the certain steps that we talked about here as far as dreaming and goal setting and teamwork and support and all those different things that go along with the curriculum. And even young kids can be the same way. They can be leaders in their classroom and show that example to the rest of the people in their classroom, whether that's a male person in the classroom or a female in that classroom. It's all about the leadership and doing the right thing, and hopefully others will follow.
Question over here. Hi, how are you?
Great, how are you?
Good. So my question is for the group. Anyone can answer. What is the number one thing you would like to achieve this year?
David.
For me, it's simple. My personal mission is to empower others to empower others. So if I can teach gratitude and empathy to as many kids that I can, to teach them the importance of being grateful, because that gives you perspective. And then empathy is not sympathy. Empathy is forgiveness. Sympathy, I can't feel bad enough to make you feel good, sick enough to make you healthy. But if I can teach empathy, forgiveness, and forgiveness of themselves, right? Because we can't give what we don't have. In fact, we don't even know what we have until we've given it away. So when you combine empowering children with gratitude and empathy, you've instilled and empowered them to be successful, to be a quarterback for life in whatever they do.
For me, I've achieved pretty much everything I ever thought or more in my professional life as far as my professional athletic life. And I've done a lot more than I ever thought I would do. I even exceeded my goals. So I'm at a point in my life now at 58 years old. All I want to do is try and help positive change. And all the different things that I get involved in have to do with making a positive change. And a lot of that positive change has to do with young people, because I had so many people that helped and supported me, coming up when I came up, that helped keep me on the positive, helped keep me in the right direction, whether it was the Boy Scouts or the Cub Scouts or the Boys Club or Vacation Bible School, and then all the different sports I was involved in. All those different programs helped me become who I am today. And now I'm in a position where I can, give back and help make change in people's lives as I move forward. And that's kind of what I'm doing now. And that's one of the reasons why I'm sitting here today and being a part of the Beating the Odds Foundation. And I also have my own foundation, the Crescent Moon Foundation, and we provide scholarships to underprivileged high school kids to go to college. So we've been doing that since 1989. And we do a lot of different things with a lot of other charitable foundations. But that's all my life is about right now is helping make positive change, and mainly in young people.
My goal for this year for our foundation is to find our first national sponsor so we can take our program into schools all across America.
Right back here.
Hi. I was wondering, how do you use social media to engage the community? All of you.
Dave, you're an expert.
Yeah. Expert, that's a fallacy. First of all, I just have to say one thing just to embarrass him. He's not only an exceptional quarterback, which everyone agrees, but off the field, he's just being honored this March as the Humanitarian of the Year award with the Unstoppable Foundation. Last year's award winner. Yeah, so I think to Warren, I think it means as much, if not more, than some of the other football honors that he has. But Malula won it last year, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, and he's the first athlete ever to win this humanitarian honor. And we've represented the Clemente family for years. The reason we did is that's the only true character, non-performance-based major athletic award. And to have a partner who's won that award, to me, is even more impressive than 9 Pro Bowls, both Hall of Fames, and 44,000 yards or whatever it added up to. So social media, we have a lot of younger people that work with us utilizing content in a variety of mediums. So I believe that all ideas are the key to social media. And the problem is it has to be authentic and organic. And if you look, I have a 4-year-old, if you look on YouTube and look at a Mickey Mouse video, it has 120 million hits. Everyone will talk about, this girl with her butt with 5.5 million hits, or Warren Moon throwing a football, but great ideas inspire people. And so what we look for in our company, what we look for in our partners like Beating the Odds, are great, inspiring ideas, because we know that they'll become viral and that we can utilize all the different mediums that exist out there as long as we have authentic, organic, great ideas and share them with everyone.
And I know today we have schools out there partnered with our foundation that are actually watching this in classroom today, and we're going to be presenting it online to them, to watch it at later dates too. So, what the media world and today provides opportunities for what we do with NASA to be seen live into every school in America. These are great opportunities.
We have time for one more question.
Hello. I, as a kid, loved the arts, but continually, I grew up in the New York City public school education system. The first thing that politicians do is cut the arts. So what is it that you can give the platform today, say to these politicians that the first thing they do is cut theater, art, music? What do you have to say to them to, because make them not do this?
So we use the athletes, number one, as bug lights to get the attention of the politicians and decision makers, to align them to make the right decisions. We were talking earlier how unfortunate it is that we never hear how difficult it is to find $1 billion to find defense funding. But if you try to find even $10 million for a school district or even a city, it's like pulling tooth and nail. And so we've met as high as the Secretary of State, Secretary of Education, Arnie Duncan, went to the White House. Warren lobbied for the arts and education to get the funding that's necessary for us to enhance those ideas. And I think the arts are a neglected part, and there's a big portion, I'll let Rocco talk with the Beating of the Odds and how art ties into Beating the Odds, because these quarterbacks, remember football, I love the fact that we use the quarterback, because I waited for the day, and it probably came the last couple of years, when they don't talk about a black quarterback, they just talk about a quarterback. And now we can talk about a quarterback, because 2-to-1, football is the most popular sport with women. And I would love the fact for my young daughters to think that they could become a quarterback someday and not think at all, well, it's a detriment because I'm a girl. Because if Warren thought that way when he was 7 years old, he would have thought it's a detriment because I'm black, because black people aren't quarterbacks. I think we're actually accelerating that enlightenment, that anyone can do anything they want.
Yeah, it's a very disappointing thing to know that when most budgets get cut, that's one of the first places they want to cut is extracurricular activities in schools. And a lot of times, extracurricular activities are what really interests kids the most. Like you said, you had a big interest in art, and there are a lot of kids that have an interest in music or interest in being part of the band or whatever it might be, and those are the places that they usually cut first. And also athletics. They cut athletics quite a bit as well, and a lot of these programs don't exist anymore just because they don't have the funds to provide, or either the kids nowadays have to provide for their own athletic opportunities, whether they have to pay for their equipment or they have to pay a certain amount of money in order to play on sports teams. And that was never that way when I was a young kid. So it's very disappointing to hear that that's going on, and that's why we're trying to do as much as we can to make sure that those funds are going to be there for school districts. And I think we have to do much more as parents and have more of a voice in our school districts to make sure that we're getting the funding that we need so our young kids do get those opportunities, because education is probably the most important thing you can have for a young kid as they grow up in life, and that's one of the things that we're always cutting back on. It just doesn't make sense in a country as wealthy as we are, and all the different things that we have to provide, and we're not giving our young kids the great opportunity to have a good start in life. So we're trying to do our little bit of our part as far as being a voice for that, and hopefully we'll get more people on board to do the same thing. But I go right along with you. I know your frustration, and I'm just glad that I didn't have to deal with that as a young kid, but that doesn't mean that I shouldn't help the young kids today that provide that or need to have that same opportunity that we all had as adults growing up.
Great. Well, thank you. And it was great being here today. And David and Warren, again, thanks so much for flying from the West Coast here today to be part of this. You can visit us online, beatingtheodds.org. And if you have any questions, shoot them our way. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much.